Hello again, I'm Alex Miceli. This is my one take from the 10th fairway at the Composite Courts at Royal Melbourne Golf Club in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. This is the hottest day they're going to have here during the President's Cup. It's somewhere in the 90s Fahrenheit. Don't give me that Celsius thing because I don't get it. And the flies, well, if I start knocking stuff around, you'll know why. The flies are all over and they're difficult to deal with. So it'll be interesting to see how the Americans deal with it because the Australians, they're used to it. They deal with this all the time. But still, that being said, it's going to be quite interesting. The more breeze you get, the better off you are. Kind of hard to say that, but I was praying for breeze when I was playing golf the last week or so here in Australia. Now, normally you get into a President's Cup and, you know, it's kind of relaxed. It's not that crazy. I mean, obviously the internationals haven't won. We could go through that ad nauseum. But this time around, there's a little controversy. And the controversy starts even before the Americans hit the ground. Patrick Reed. Now, people can say what they want about Patrick Reed. He's shown that he can be very successful in professional golf. Won a Masters, obviously, has won a lot of golf tournaments. He's known as Tiger Tom Captain America, coming from what happened in Ryder Cups. But this time, Captain America has a bit of a blemish on him. In this particular case, it's from a questionable rules infraction that happened at the Hero World Challenge in the third round in the Bahamas. This would have been on Friday, where, as you can see here, Reed, using his sand wedge, I'm assuming it is, starts knocking sand away from his ball, from behind his ball. Now, people think, well, first of all, why is he grounding his club in sand? And the answer is because it was a waste area, so it didn't matter. Then the second question is, well, what is he doing there? And according to the rules officials, what he was doing there was improving his lie. And by improving his lie, 2-shot penalty. Now, is that the end of the story? No. It's never the end of the story with Patrick Reed. Everybody jumped on. Players, Twitter, you name it, everybody's into it. So the first question is, well, did he intend to do it? Well, according to Patrick Reed, no, I never intended to do it. In fact, I didn't even know I was doing it. I had this angle where I was above the ball, and this was, you can see the television angle was from, the camera was from behind the ball, and I never saw that. I never saw the sand move. Of course, after I saw the video, obviously I agreed, but I never saw the sand move. Well, first of all, Patrick, this isn't the first time. Let's go back to 2015, the same event, and you can see this video that showed up on Twitter, showing a similar situation with Patrick Reed and a similar situation where he drug the club back and moved some sand. So what do you say at that point? Did he intend to do it? Well, Patrick again says he did not intend to do it, and intent is not part of this rule. The fact that you just did it is all that matters. It doesn't matter if you intended to do it or not. So then you get Slugger White coming in, the PGA Tour rules official who was there, and he had this to say about his situation with Patrick Reed. He could not have been more of a gentleman, White said. He was unbelievable. He said he had a different look at it. The angle that we had was behind, and he's looking from on top, so he may not have, I don't know if he could have seen it as clearly as we did, but he could not have been a better gentleman. Slugger, I don't really care if he was a gentleman or not. Is this not questionable behavior? Is this not something that should be looked at further than you saying, we gave him a 2-shot penalty, he was such a gentleman, let's move on? Are you kidding me? Seriously. Those are flies that I'm beating away, by the way. Then you get Cam Smith, 26-year-old, Australian, lives in the United States, plays on the PGA Tour, first time in the President's Cup for the international team. He came out with what we would have to say were relatively scathing comments for a professional golfer, about another professional golfer. I don't have any sympathy for anyone that cheats, Smith said. I hope the crowd absolutely gives it to him, not only him, but everyone on the American team next week. This is Smith talking from the Australian Open. If you make a mistake, maybe once, you can make him maybe understand. But to give a bit of a bullshit response like the camera angle, that's pretty up there. So now you got Cam Smith understanding the situation. It's bad, right? It's bad. It needs to be addressed. Now, when the U.S. team gets here in Australia, which they should be here by now, this being Monday in Australia. According to most of my Australian friends, Patrick Reed is going to catch a ration full, and it's not going to stop after Thursday or Friday or Saturday. It's going to go all the way through the week. And then the question is, if it's going all the way through the week, how does that in fact impact the American team? Now you could say, not a big deal, it's not going to be a problem. Let me just say something to you. Danny Willett was going to be in the first pairing on the first day in the Ryder Cup with Lee Westwood at Hazeltine. That is something Darren Clark had determined months before the Ryder Cup. Then Danny Willett's brother made some comments that got into a story that went all viral, and Danny Willett was never the same. In fact, the European team was never the same. At Hazeltine, they played poorly. And a lot of those players go back and point to what happened with Danny Willett and his brother. So now, am I suggesting that could happen with Patrick Reed? Yes, I'm suggesting that. It doesn't mean it will, but yes, I am suggesting that. I mean, let's be honest. These guys, it just takes a little. I mean, we have 12 players on each side that are world-class players. It just takes a little push one way or the other to make the difference. And when you have an extremely hungry international team that wants to do everything possible to finally win again, that could be the difference. Tiger Woods now is going to have to figure out what to do with Patrick Reed. He is a pick, so it's a little different than if you made it on points where you kind of feel like you have to play him more. But he is a pick. So we'll see what happens there. But do not underestimate what happened in the Bahamas. Could in fact impact everything that happens this week on these fairways at Royal Melbourne. I want to shout out to Henrik Stenson, winning again since his last win was 2017. Played pretty well in Dubai, then comes over the Hero World Challenge and wins. And then Matt Jones, an Australian, gosh, these flies are something, aren't they? Matt Jones, an Australian, wins the Australian Open, gets a little walk into the Open Championship as well. I am going to be recapping this event, the President's Cup, next Monday in my one take. I'm also going to be talking to some players and having some feedback on all the stuff that I've talked about today and some other things as well on my morning listen, which will be on Friday. So don't miss that. And then, of course, my coverage, my sole coverage of the President's Cup on Morning Read. I'm Alex Miceli. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.